And we're live.
We are. We are here.
And we're live.
Yes.
I think this time for real.
I think so too. We are here. We are ready for yet another great episode of Dad's Dishing.
Dad's Dishing podcast number 5.
Yes.
Número 5.
Número 5 in
Well, we've been
Espanol.
together for 2 years now.
Yeah.
We was just having this conversation with producer Kelly.
Yes.
And he was like, well, a year. And I'm like, no, 2 years.
2 years we've been doing
Yeah.
this. Can you believe it? When we met 2 years ago and you said, this is what we're doing, and will you come be a part of this journey? I said, absolutely. I love your idea. I love your passion for the idea. And look where we are now.
You know what's really cool? Is that you've adopted it like it's your own as well. Like, it's like, and I hope that we all make you feel that way.
Yes.
Like, this is your project too.
Absolutely.
You're on a mission.
Well, you know what? I think from day one, it has been all about being a champion for single fathers.
Right.
Because nobody's doing it out there. Nobody is doing it. Still, 2 years into the game, we're out there, but nobody else is doing it. And
that's why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the exciting thing about it. So we are here advocating for you single fathers. If you are listening, tell your friends, hey, women out there, if your husband's not quite doing it, your ex-husband's not quite doing it, have him tune in. We're going to teach you the way to be the best single father you can be.
Absolutely. Last week we had dating advice for single dads.
Love this, yes.
The week before we had, what do we have?
We had, a week before, we had art ideas.
That's
because right now we're trying to fill COVID.
That's right.
And that time with our kids and school not being in session, here's what we're going to do.
Right.
And that's what we talked about 2 weeks ago. But it is also important to talk about, I think, truthfully.
Absolutely. And it dovetails into today's topic.
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely. Oh, today's a good one, too.
I know.
Stay tuned for that because that's coming to you.
But big news
Big news.
that the whole left coast is on fire.
All because of a, what are those showers called where you tell the sex of the baby? What are they called? Producer Kelly, you know what they're. A gender reveal party.
Reveal party?
Do you know one of the major fires out there was caused by a gender reveal party?
Why?
Have you seen this?
Well,
yes.
it was like a firework or something.
It was
right?
a firework or something that lit off, and it caused one of the big. It's not a laughing matter. I have to laugh because how can something so stupid cause such a disastrous scene? But yeah, that really is the reality of it.
I had heard something about it, but I just keep seeing the reports that people are losing their homes and they're just it's awful.
Devastating.
Like, it's really, really bad. And just, you know, I'm always so attracted to, you know, going out to Hollywood and doing our show and all that other stuff that we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, with that being said, what really sucks is that super high taxation,
yeah.
rioting
Fires,
going crazy.
Rioting, earthquake potential, the potential for earthquakes.
Right. And the governor's really shitting the bed as far as the COVID pandemic handling.
Ugh.
And it's putting businesses out awful. So it's just bad all around.
Mess.
Yeah.
What a
And then,
mess.
the freaking wildfires. Jeez.
Yeah, it really is. It's so scary. And if you think about it, it makes New York feel not so bad. Oh, was there an earthquake? Oh, was there an earthquake here? In New Jersey, 3.1 magnitude earthquake, September 9th.
Oh, my God.
Oh my gosh, that's
must have
crazy.
just-
So
yeah,
it was
that's
just
insane.
recent.
I know.
Oh my gosh. So we even have them now. The world is coming to an end.
I thought I heard a collective, forget about it.
Forget about it. Oh, it's an earthquake. The earth is shaking. Santa
forget about
Maria. Yeah. Can I say, I have to tell you, the other night I was sitting in bed and I made myself laugh because it is the end of the era of Kardashians. Did you see they are now done? They're canceled. One more year. 2021. And I thought to myself, I really thought we would be with them till the end of time watching what they're doing.
I think they're going out on top.
Yes. Well, so you want to know why I laughed? Because all I could picture is a nuclear bomb going off and we're all getting into the bunkers and everybody's so worried and me turning to everyone and saying, I wonder what the Kardashians are doing now.
I know, right?
Yeah, seriously.
It's really funny.
We won't be able to know anymore.
Well, I make myself laugh all the time because that's the sort of humor that I have. I just sit there just goof at myself.
He tickles himself.
No, but seriously, I was just thinking about that also. Like, I'm a straight guy, and I've been watching the Kardashians for a long time.
Yes,
I just find their
questionable.
life
No.
so... But basically, if you like hot women, I mean, it's a whole freaking TV series.
And they're all just lounging
women.
around. Yeah,
I know.
All made up in glam.
The first time that I caught them, it was like, I think it was Chloe and Courtney, and one of them was giving the other a wax of their vagina.
Oh my!
So they were like, so she's on all fours. This is sister doing the sister on television,
Yes.
and of course it's blurred out. But I was fascinated. I was like, do sisters really do? Will they wax one another?
My family is a closed door. Nobody comes near anybody. You change in private kind of thing.
Right.
But from my understanding,
Very waspy.
Yes, it's very waspy.
know.
Like, don't come near anyone. But for my understanding is there are naked families.
Oh, yeah.
We used to have a family who came into the store when I worked in retail, and they would all go in the same changing room and try on pants, shirts to work, and it was male, female. Like, it was kind of strange.
So
I mean, yeah.
kids too in there?
Yeah,
my gosh.
the whole damn family. They're like, let's all try on underwear. No, I'm joking. It wasn't that.
Well, you know, it's kind of funny. Back in my radio days,
Yes.
I remember getting a client.
I
that
know
was-
where this is going, and I love this.
That was,
Okay, tell
that was
them.
a
Yes,
nudist
tell.
colony.
Can you imagine?
There's a
Families
place in
do go
Moravia
together.
called it's a that's the weird part. It's called a family nudist camp.
Yes.
And I remember I went down there to like go sell them some advertising because I saw that they had an ad in the New Times. So I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yes.
So a family nudist colony? So I freaking drive down there. And I met with the person that ran the marketing. Thank God she was dressed because poor thing.
I
She
tend
was
to
older.
think the people at nude beaches and nude campgrounds and that sort of thing are not the people you picture in your. It's not Baywatch,
No.
okay? These are people who should not be naked. Probably clothes aren't fitting at this
And
point.
I'll never forget the name of the street that it's on.
What street?
It's called Lick Street.
I almost spit out my coffee. Lick Road. We're on Lick
Street,
Road.
baby.
Yeah.
No, and what was cool was that
Yeah.
they bought some advertising from me.
Okay.
On the way out,
Yes.
I see a beautiful naked woman, but she has boots on, which I thought was a little weird, but she was walking her dog. And
Yeah.
she said, hi. And I said to her, nice dog.
Yeah.
I know what else
Thank
to
God
say.
she wasn't walking her cat.
I know, right? So anyway, that's a little weird.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
exactly.
Yeah. You just got
I
that.
just got
You
that. I
just
was
got
like, yeah.
that. Thank you. It was really good
I'm like,
actually.
who walks a cat?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
The P word.
Yes, the P word.
which we can say now.
We can say it now,
But we're
but you
just
know
gonna
what?
tease it.
I'm going to be a gentleman today because last week was my turn to be a little
Did
a
you
little
listen to
talky.
yourself?
Yeah, I did, and I talking about the dick pic. That was not a good idea.
You probably got a bunch of them.
I do in my phone. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
Ready and ready to go. So, do you think about that? Do you think about your phone being hacked ever or any of that?
Yes.
Which, as a single father, here's the thing. I think one of the biggest things that we have to be careful if you're going through a breakup, if you're in a relationship, is what you keep on your phone. Because it can be used against you
Right.
in a court of law.
Really?
And that's the truth. I truly believe that. Yeah, you can use elements. I mean, it has to be entered into. Well, we should talk to our guests about this
Right.
because
That-
that's a good question.
that would be a great
Yes.
question.
But did you ever have a girlfriend who was always trying to get into your phone?
Yes.
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 Is her name Kelly?
No.
I'm joking.
So no. But in the past, it's happened.
Yeah. Do you know, I dated a guy for 13 days, and he got into my phone every single time. He would look over my shoulder. I didn't even know. And he'd be like, he'd get right in. I'm like, I keep changing it, and he keeps getting right in. How
Right.
is he doing this? This is not going to work.
Right.
This is not going to work.
I was seeing a girl though for a little bit where she would just constantly be just up to like hiding her phone and doing all that sort of shit.
What are you hiding? If you have something to hide, don't do it.
Yeah,
Don't.
and it sucks, because you're just
Yeah.
like, what the fuck's this person doing?
I don't trust you, and if you give me a reason not to trust, I'm definitely not
I
going to
know.
trust you.
Just
Yeah.
time to end things.
Yep, it totally is, for
But,
sure.
Oh my God. But anyway, I don't know. There's so much going on, and we had a winner, by the way.
Oh, talk about this. I love
Frida
this.
the Frogs.
Our first giveaway in our new series of giveaways, if you
Yes.
will. Frida the Frog, the book. It's the Two Mamas Next Door. We have been such a champion for this book.
You know why?
Because I'm on the back cover of it.
Yeah, exactly. Because Scotty gave his seal of approval.
I am
for this
such a
book.
champion for
But
this.
At the
Yes.
same time, though, we really do love Nadine.
Yeah,
Like,
I love
she-
Nadine.
yeah.
Do you know what? The reason I got asked and Joe didn't is because it's about two gay parents. Now, when it's the two Latinas next door, you will get to endorse that book.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
The two Colombians next
This
door.
book is so important. I just wish it was in Spanish.
Yes.
So we had our first giveaway. So tune in all of our social media platforms. We will be doing giveaways coming up quite a bit. So we're looking forward to that. And you could be our next winner on
Right.
Dad's Dishing.
Well,
Yes.
should we announce who actually won?
Oh, I think we should. This is a good one.
It's
Yes.
our good friend, Steve Samuel.
Yes, and he's going to be giving that to his fantastic son, Royal Julius. So we are so happy.
Wait, what's his name?
Royal Julius. Is that not a great name?
I knew his name.
That's when you name your child to be a star.
That is a badass name.
It
It's
is, but you
royal.
know what? You know what? You can name your child to be a star, and you can name your child to be a loser too. Like, oh, this is my daughter, Crystal Diamond. She is coming to the main stage in 5 minutes. Crystal Diamond.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
We're going to get hate mail.
Yes, we're going to. Hi, my name is Crystal Diamond. Yes. All right. So that is what we're.
Wait, would it be Neil Diamond's daughter?
Neil Diamond's daughter. If it's Neil
She's like,
Diamond's
"I'm not
daughter,
a whore."
she can be a winner, believe me.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's talk about where we're going with the show today and what we're doing.
Absolutely. So today's guest is the actual founder. No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
you're
That's
joking,
just-
but you will get where he's going with this in just
Her
a
name's
moment.
Sharene Pavone. She's
Yes.
a family lawyer. She's a matrimonial lawyer. She's absolutely phenomenal. I'm excited to see her here.
Yes.
And of course, her last name Pavone
Second video.
being of the pizza empire here in Syracuse. So I thought that was kind of like funny.
Yeah,
but
it's
they're related.
but she is an attorney, and we are dealing with a question that is actually a fantastic question right now. Let's watch a video from our viewer. He was a guest once before. Robert Ritchie joins us with a video question that I think a lot of you will find topical.
Hi, Dad's Dishing. This is Bobby. My ex won't let me see my daughter. What can I do? I realize extra pressures and stresses associated with COVID-19 pandemic. It can be hard to manage and cause anxiety in both the parents and the children. I'm healthy and taking precautions. I work in the hospitality industry, and we are open and operating under strict guidelines. There should not be any added issues regarding custody and visitation. I'm trying to be on the same page with her about things and what we both do in our own households to limit exposure to the virus and to shield my daughter. I'm thinking other parents might be at odds in this situation too. What's a dad to do?
What a great question.
That was a
it
really
is,
great question.
Because you ran into this a bit when you came home from Florida.
Yeah, from Florida.
Over the winter, you came home, and it had not even blown up to be the hot spot it was.
Well, my ex, as no, Dolly. She's a nurse, so
We
she's
love
on,
Dolly,
she's
yes.
on, yeah, and we do love her, and she's just on the front lines.
Yeah.
And you know what? Over the time, she has been coming home with absolute horror COVID stories. So the kids are exposed to this. It's a pandemic, and right when everything was happening, remember the mess that we were in back in March and April and all that other shit.
Nobody knew what was
Right.
going to happen or where we were going.
And
yeah.
you heard a lot of rumors too, like, oh, it's attacking this. It can attack your central nervous system. It'll attack your brain, your lungs, and
All of
leave
that.
scarring. And and you can recatch it, right?
And still, there's no real, I think there are still symptoms that people are just now finding out about.
It's manufactured. That's why.
Oh, well, there's one thought.
That-
yes.
it's an
there's
actual-
one conspiracy theory.
Well, it's an actual truth.
Yes, okay.
It is. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not being offensive in any way. It's the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
It was actually manufactured.
Well, I
It
do
came from
believe
an
that.
area.
I do believe it was created.
Right.
Yes.
Well, with that being said, so she always was very cautious, but I have two grown kids,
Yeah.
a 21-year-old and 19-year-old, and they both were like, Dad, we're not cool with you
Yeah.
Until you go and get tested. So
Go and get tested
And so
or
I had to
quarantine.
I had to like not see them. We FaceTime a couple of times or something like that, or just call, text.
Yes.
But then after that, then it was okay. They're like, come by,
Yeah.
But even then, they're still a little bit cautious. They're more cautious about spending time with me because I'm a little more out and about. Whatever the governor says we can do, I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Yes.
Where they're just precautious. Or they're just precautious. They're cautious.
Yes.
So that's
Which-
the stance that they're taking. And I applaud them for that because they're taking care of their own skin and they don't want to get infected, nor do they want to pass that on to perhaps their elderly grandparents or whatever.
Yeah. And I think what the good takeaway here is that they're able to make that decision.
Right.
They are grown adults.
It hurt my feelings.
I'm sure it did,
I
but
was
you
like,
can't take it
yeah, I know.
personally because it's about health and life. But the reality is there are so many kids out there who now have two parents, and we have so many questions that we're going to ask our guests, and we're going to bring her in here in just a second. But what's great is your kids could make the decision.
Right.
Under 18, they don't have the legal right to
No.
make that decision. So the parents have to make that decision
So
for
I
their
really
kids.
do feel for Robbie,
Yes.
but I can understand his ex also saying, "Hey, you know what? You're out there and you're
front lines,
you're on the
yes.
front lines, actually beating and greeting
Yes.
and shaking hands and doing whatever." So I get that part of it, but I can understand his frustration.
Absolutely.
And his hurt. He's like, "Those are my kids. I want to see them," et cetera.
And where does the law come in?
Right.
So that's what our guest, Sharene Pavone, she's joining us in the studio in the next few minutes here. We're going to talk to her all these questions and so much more and get a little insight into where the law comes in and COVID.
And you know what? I think it's a great time for us to be talking about some of our sponsors.
Oh my God, this Cafe Cubal coffee. All right, Sebi, our producer, he is an expert here. He made this delicious pour over coffee from Cafe Cubal. We are loving this. Kelly, producer Kelly, you're drinking it too?
It is so good. I love the addition of the pumpkin.
Yes.
It really brings out the flavor. Just so fantastic.
We are in
I
white
don't
girl
even have
season
cream
pumpkin
What's
today.
so
spice.
sad is that I can't operate the fancy equipment that they have here at the Cafe Cubal. Wonderful co-works.
It took
maybe
two
I-
of you to go down
No,
there.
yeah, I was
and
so
neither
dumb.
one
I
of you
made
knew
a
what
mess.
the.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
did.
All right.
Spilled it
So that
everywhere.
is so important. We want to talk about that always. Cafe
Sorry,
Cubal.
Matt.
So
Yeah,
we do
sorry,
love
Matt.
Cleaned it up.
Cafe Cubal. They do deliver the best freaking coffee in all of Central New York. hands down.
Absolutely. Every
You know,
time.
Absolutely.
And then we have to talk about dental health.
always.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love this.
So we have our appointments due.
No, I did not schedule mine yet. I need to do. I have been so crazy busy. As you know, I planned a birthday party at the house that you were at.
Well, we got to talk about
We
that.
got to talk about this. We'll talk about this after our guests. But you do have your appointment ready to go.
Northeastern
they are
Dental,
open.
by the way.
Yes.
Northeastern Dental is what we're talking about, and the beautiful Carla Fisher, who's over there and running
her.
that whole operation. But yeah, it's a fantastic, fantastic dental group with different locations in all Central New York for you to be able to set something up. I'm going to the manliest one, which I heard was amazing.
Yes.
They're all amazing, but I'm getting my everything checked out, and then teeth whitening.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe like something else. Maybe some
Cleaning.
gold teeth
Some gold teeth, a little, what do they call that?
caps.
Caps, maybe some caps. Yes. All right, let's
My
bring
grill?
our guest in. She's here. She's ready to come in from the green room, and we're going to talk to Sharene Pavone now.
Okay.
Okay, so Sharene Pavone, thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
Happy to be here.
Welcome to Dad's Vision.
We are so happy to have you. And let's tell our viewers, you are an attorney
Yes, I am.
and a family advocacy attorney, correct?
Yes, I'm a matrimonial and family court attorney.
Okay.
So my practice is limited to divorce, custody, and child support matters.
Okay, awesome. So as you know, COVID has popped a lot of new questions.
Yes.
Part of that being, I think some of the court systems have been closed, correct?
Yeah, courts have had a really hard time. Everything was shut down for a period of time. They are now open. It was closed for a couple months. They are taking cases virtually now, but
Oh,
they're
good.
obviously very backlogged.
Right.
And obviously, the whole COVID thing has brought up a lot of issues that we have never had to deal with before.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think about Mr. Ritchie's problem as far as his wife, basically, or his ex-wife, excuse me, saying that, hey, you can't see the kids because of your job?
You know, I guess if he was in front of me, the first thing I would ask him is, do you have an order or not? So I think, court orders are supposed to be followed. And that is the first thing that I would look at. Do you have an order in place? What is the visitation?
I believe he does, right?
Yes.
That's the thing.
I
is that-
believe so.
but she doesn't care.
Yeah, so really, that is technically a violation of the order. And, many parents are starting to say, well, it was COVID and it wasn't safe. And I am finding that the courts will look at each case, it's a fact-specific situation. And if somebody is taking precautions or there's evidence of text messages between the parties saying, hey, this is what I'm doing in my house, the court is going to allow those visitations to take place unless there's some real serious concerns with the child's health or there's, elderly that are in the home with the child. But pretty much what I'm finding is that court orders are to be followed.
Okay.
And if they're not being followed, he has the ability to go to court to file a violation petition and to ask that that order be followed.
So how are we doing as far as timing with the courts having been closed? Are we able to do an emergency hearing so we can get our children sooner? What's the answer there, to the best of your knowledge,
Well,
obviously?
they certainly can file what's called an order to show cause, and that places the case kind of on, it's a priority.
Okay.
And, if you were to just go file a petition in court, it could take months to get a court date right now.
Yes.
But when you file an order to show cause, you're asking the court for immediate relief. And that relief could be, I haven't seen my child in 5 months and I would like to start visitation again. Or my child has been taken from me and I want the child returned.
Yes.
In cases like that, I have filed a lot of orders to show cause. I have found that technically the return dates are about within a month.
Okay.
It's still not right away, but it's certainly faster than if they were to just file a
It moves it up in the queue.
It does move it up.
Okay.
It does move it up.
What do you think happens to the kids, though? Do you feel like maybe, in your experience, do you see children just being really upset not being able to see either parent? Because guys can play this trick too. And my neighbor,
Yes.
her ex-husband has been doing that. You've been traveling, you don't get to see the kids, et cetera, and then that bothers the kids.
Well, and it makes it difficult because we live in a society where people have such different opinions about this issue, right?
It's true.
You have
Yeah.
one.
It is quite polarizing.
Yes.
Like everything else going on in the world today.
Everything else going on. Yes.
So, you have people that feel very strongly about social distancing and they won't go out in public and they're very, very cautious. And you have people that are much more relaxed and don't believe it's a big problem. And so, again, I don't get the impression that courts are looking to micromanage each person's perceptions on this
Okay.
as long as there isn't a serious concern.
So they're going to follow the original law and what was written in as far as here's the custody agreement. We're going to follow that.
I mean,
for the most part.
that's what certainly I have learned very, very early on, that I can't predict what a judge will do.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
I'm sure we all have had our experiences, but
Yes.
I would feel pretty confident telling a client that if you have an order, it should be followed. If it's not being followed, let's file something.
Okay.
And what I have found and what I've asked for in cases like that is, look, this person has missed X number of days, and we want that made up. And
Yes.
I have found that some courts have done that.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a very good tip for people out there.
Are there certain courts that are better than others?
I think like everything else, it's fact specific. It really depends on the facts and the reason why that person, I'll give you an example. I have a client that I was representing who wasn't providing the access to the other side, but the child was reporting that mom was being very relaxed about the COVID, was going places, was not wearing masks, was going in
Okay.
large groups. And my client lived with elderly parents that had immune issues, and
And a concern.
and there
Yes.
was
Right.
a genuine concern because he lived with his parents. So in that case, the court, did say, look, these are the conditions that mom now has to follow. She won't leave the child with third parties. She has to practice. So there were some restrictions on what mom had to do during her time, but she did get some of her time. So
Okay.
it wasn't that it was taken away. But my client really wasn't punished either because there was a genuine reason for why he was restricting that
Yes,
time.
naturally, a genuine concern. And here's the thing, your ex, Dolly, works on the front line as a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
You do have people out there who are highly educated doctors, but the reality is they could, too, be bringing that home. So
Right.
each case is different. You have to look at each case and say, okay, how are we going to keep the child safe?
But my ex is far more protective of herself, and she's taking off. She's stripping on the front lawn. No.
Yes.
But she's like,
That's a whole other
Yes,
issue.
exactly. We're going to talk about nudity and yes, next. Yes.
Again.
Maybe we need to file another petition.
Exactly. Yes. Let's get that one through immediately.
But you hear what I'm saying. It's like,
Yes.
no, she's super cautious. She's taking all the right precautions.
Very aware.
And, the kids are too.
Yeah.
So they get it.
Right.
And mine are grown. So like,
And I
it's
think
totally different.
I was going to also say that sometimes the argument is, well, what I hear a lot is, well, this person works in the medical field, there's a risk.
Yes.
And what I've seen is actually quite the opposite, that the people who work in the medical field are getting tested
They
more
know
often.
it's serious, yeah.
And they are being more cautious than the average person who may be hanging out with friends on the weekend and doesn't seem to
Because if you're seeing
Yes.
people that are being diagnosed and perhaps even passing away, dying or struggling with it,
You are aware
exactly.
and yes,
This is
firsthand,
real. Right.
a firsthand view of it. One of the things you brought up that I think is actually an interesting thing, and I'm wondering if you can compel one of the parents to do this, but testing. Are we able to, through court, compel the other parent to test to make sure that our child is not being exposed in that way?
Well, I think the concern is how do you structure that? And how
Yes.
often, because we only know when we do a test, right, that it only looks at the last 2 weeks.
Exactly.
And so how often are we going to require testing? Who's going to pay for it? So I haven't seen those restrictions. I think if there's a concern, let's address it. How do we limit the exposure? How do we make sure the children are safe, but still give the children a chance to see both parents? And going back to one of the things you had raised, how am I finding children are dealing with that? I think they're very much in the middle. It's a hard time for these kids right now. They're adjusting to school. They're not able to, travel with the parents as they were supposed to in the summer. And I think it's even more important to try to maintain as much normalcy for the kids as possible, because we don't want to put them in that position where do you feel safe going to mommy's? Do you feel safe going to daddy's? That's not the right way. That's not right to put that on the kids.
And I think maybe my advice would be, just being an outsider here, but my advice would be to just communicate to your kids, look, this is what's going on. So you have to be brave also. We may not be able to see mom or dad as much as we want, or maybe we just have to keep our distance, but it's because of what's going on.
Yeah, I think courts,
Communication.
the courts are having, this is brand new to everyone dealing with it. The lawyers,
No
the
precedent for
clients,
this,
there's
yes.
no precedent. And I think that it's a case-by-case basis, fact-specific, and, everyone's just trying to do what's best for the kids.
One of the things you brought up that I think is a great thing to touch on now, because it's really become, as in the past few weeks, we're going back to school. And how does that schedule now affect our children that are staying home? Are we seeing people go back and say, well, maybe mom needs to work all week and dad can have them on the weekend, but we originally had them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Are we seeing schedules be readjusted during this time from a legal standpoint as to when you have your custody agreement because of school?
Well, there are a couple issues with school. The first and foremost is, if you have jointly legal custody with someone, you have to be on the same page as to what that school is going to look like. Is
Okay.
it going to be virtual or is it going to be in person? And if you can't make that decision, again, you have to go to court. If one person says, I don't want to send the child, and one person says, I want to have the child go every day, and you can't agree, it's a joint legal custodial issue. You really can't make that decision unilaterally.
And that's, parents that are still married in an amicable space are having that difficulty with that
Yes.
decision. Are we going to send or not? So that's really, so important.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in terms of adjusting schedules, there's usually language in any order that parents can make such other and further visitation as they arrange or as they agree.
Okay.
So people can generally work together and make adjustments. It doesn't change the structure of the order. The order is still valid. But if they want to make temporary adjustments to adjust their schedule and they are both on the same page about that, they always can do that.
So one of my other questions turns to the medical side of things, and maybe there's not an answer for this, but with a lot of hospitals and doctors' offices, we are running into a situation where a kid is allowed to go in with a parent, but maybe you like to go both parents, so you are making sure your child, if it's a well check or if it's urgent care, you can both be there and hear what they're saying. Well, right now you can't do
No, you
that.
can't do that.
What's your advice? And I know there's no,
Is there a
that's
court
a
order
case
for that?
by case. I know that's a case by case. And in most situations, that's not something you can plan ahead for. What's your advice for a parent out there that's going to look at that maybe?
Well, I think if you have someone, obviously there are situations where people are very unreasonable with each other.
Yes,
and,
yes.
and then there are more civil people and there's a more civil interaction. So what I have found is the people that get along pretty well and really want to put the kids' interests above their own, they will, both go to the doctor's office and split it.
Okay.
You go in for part of the time, I'll go in for part of the time. But those that really want to be difficult, I guess is the nicer way to put it, I think it really comes down to whose parenting day it is.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think if it's your parenting day, then you get to go, and if it's somebody else's, then they get to go if they're not willing to work with you.
Okay, that's great advice. And you know what? I think the key here is to patience during this time. You've got to look beyond your hatred of that other person and be patient during this time.
It can definitely
always.
take time.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Yes.
the thing, that you just have to keep striving for it. If
Absolutely.
you're thinking about the kids, though, I think that's always what matters most.
They should come first, yes.
Always come first, put your needs behind, and, eventually, if things go well, you'll eventually kind of come back to your ex and realize that you're both in combat together and trying to raise the kids properly?
I always tell my clients, you continue to do the right thing, and eventually the kids will see it.
Okay.
So
That's awesome.
great advice.
that's what I say.
Which,
Don't-
I'm always a curious guy.
yeah.
What got you into practicing family law?
Well, it's an interesting story. I got married very young at 22 when I was in law school, and I ended up having my first son, who's actually in law school now, and is
Oh,
gonna be,
wow.
gonna be
Congratulations
thank you.
on
He's
that.
Is he going to
Yeah.
join the firm?
I keep telling him, but he doesn't want to do family law.
Oh, no.
So
You
he-
never know. He may come back to it.
He's going to be 26. So when I was only 24, I found out I was having a baby, and I decided to stay home for a little while. And I found a person that I wanted to only work part-time. And there was a person that we knew that was doing this type of work. And so I started in this field, making appearances in family court. And it just kind of stuck. I've always been a people person. I love to deal with the difficult things of this. I think that it's a really rewarding to be with people during their most difficult time and help them get through the other side and make them realize they're going to be okay.
You have to
And
be very
I enjoy
empathetic, is
that.
what I've seen, but at the same time, really skilled in negotiation.
Yes.
And also know how to think quickly on your feet as you're in front of a judge and and looking to get the best possible outcome for your client.
Yeah,
So-
I always say to people that I'm more than happy to help work things out and settle things out of court. And I think I'm firm with clients when I think they're being unreasonable. But I'm also the first one that's willing to go to court and fight for them if I think somebody else is being unreasonable. So you do have to have a lot of empathy, a lot of patience. People contact you about very emotional things in their life, and
Right.
they have to know you care.
Right. I've seen those calls. So that people will call just, oh, my ex is saying this, or he's saying that, or she's saying whatever. And it's just so much drama where you just have to constantly say, calm down. I got this.
I have to ask a quick question, and this
sure.
is a little off the beaten path. But as we know through COVID, what we have learned is we spent some time with our loved one, and it could go one way or the other. And I think we're going to enter into maybe a high divorce season. Are you seeing that already?
Believe it or not, I've seen both.
Yes.
I've had people that started divorce actions right before COVID hit. The courts shut down, and they were contacting me saying, "Oh my God, I can't take this. I'm stuck with this person. Get me out." And then I had people that life slowed down. There weren't as
Yes.
many activities. They were all together at home as a family, and they reconciled.
Wow.
So I have seen
That's
both.
fantastic. So
Yeah.
talk about the Lord saying, okay, here, wake up.
Right.
Listen, this
Right.
is your opportunity.
So I'm going to tune over to, one of our viewers or somebody in our audience is basically asking, what can I do if the state has custody of my child?
Well, the state, meaning the kids have been removed.
Yes.
I think I'd want to know a little more as
Of the si-
specific
yeah,
of the
of the
situation.
situation.
Yes.
So if the state, usually, I guess I'm reading that question to mean that the
Parents a crack addict.
parents
and,
have, someone has
just-
come in and made a determination that there's been an abuse or neglect situation and the child has been removed. And what I have found in those cases is that typically the county will get involved, Department of Social Services. There will be, requirements for the parents to meet certain expectations, get a psychological, go to rehab, do certain things, and then they can work towards getting their children back. So if the state has removed your children, I think you need to, work with whoever the caseworker is to get everything in place to do that you need to do to get your kids back.
And if somebody comes to you wanting to do that, that's something you would be able to help them with.
Yes, so people can have an attorney assigned to them through court, or they can hire an attorney to represent them if there's a neglect matter. And, obviously, if there's been a determination of neglect and children have been removed, there's been some type of determination that there's their safety is in danger. And obviously, it's a high hill, and it's a lot to overcome, but people can do it, and I've seen it happen.
And can turn around.
Yeah.
So I think what's a good question is now with COVID, and now when we know better, we do better. Maya Angelou said that. Do you think that there will be a change in the way we write custody agreements going forward to deal with a pandemic or to deal with how we're going to handle things should somebody become so ill or politically we think, okay, I don't think that we should wear a mask. Will there be a new way of writing custody agreements at this point?
To be honest with you, I doubt it.
Okay.
I think that usually custody orders are very specific.
Okay.
Because you need a backup plan in case people can't agree, and that's the backup plan. It's these days with you and these days with you. And, no one could have predicted this kind of situation. So I think when life gets back to normal, it's really going to be, okay, we're going to go back to the schedule. So I don't see how we can really
Make it better.
Make it better. I guess I would just, my advice to both parents would be, this is a unique situation for you and your kids, and you should try to work together to accommodate that as best as possible, because it's best for your kids.
This is great information. And really, I think that what we know now is that people need to get the proper guidance, have an attorney in place that's going to help you through this, have a custody agreement in place, and follow the law of the custody agreement. That's going to be the best advice for anybody who's dealing with COVID right now.
And call Sharene.
Yeah,
Sharene
exactly.
Give me a call.
Why not just have a freaking expert
Yes.
guide you through all of this? That's what I always say.
And
You
that's
wanna
so
have a coach.
true. It really is.
Well, I can tell you that, I think that sometimes people will do things and it's very difficult to go back and correct things that have been done. So it's always best
Smart.
if you're dealing with a situation, either an order that's not working, or before you agree to anything in court, it's always important to have proper representation, to know what it is that you're agreeing to. And
Great
if
advice.
you're really unhappy, you can have a trial. You can have a hearing.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many times people will agree to things and then they're frustrated. They're frustrated at the attorney, the court, the judge, but they agreed to it.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well,
Don't agree to it if you don't agree to it.
If you're not sure, make sure that you know what you're getting into. That's all.
Awesome.
You ever
So-
just play Kramer versus Kramer for any new clients? You just say, here, watch this 2-hour video. They'll sit there
right.
crying.
That's
Like,
yes, that's the
That's
best
right.
thing to do.
all the crap you're going to have to
That's
endure.
right.
Well, Sharene, thank you so much. We are going to have all your information, how to reach you on all of our social media
Thank you so
platforms.
much.
Yeah, this is fantastic. It's been great information and really a very topical thing to talk about right now during COVID.
I appreciate your time. Thank
Well,
you
we
for having
appreciate-
me.
We appreciate your kindness and expertise. Thank you.
Bye. Take care. Have a good day.
Perfect. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
So that went exceptionally well.
That did. It was awesome. So much great information. I hope if you are tuning in as a single parent who's maybe facing some of these questions, that you leave this episode with some great information and you feel like you are properly prepared to handle your own circumstances.
Get a lawyer.
Get a lawyer,
Get a
kids.
lawyer.
Best advice for anyone. So we should talk about who that portion of the show was brought to you by. Tell us about this, sir.
Well,
yes.
it's a wonderful company that I know a lot about. It's
Yeah.
called Ascent.legal.
Ascent.legal, and you know
Ascent.legal.
it because
I do.
you are the brainchild behind Ascent.legal.
Right. It's a whole
Yes.
other team, but basically what we do is we help attorneys do better with their sales because generally
Yes.
speaking, they just have no idea what they're doing. A lot of times they're wasting their time taking these calls where somebody's just maybe fishing for information, or maybe they're not hearing the right things that are going to help them become clients.
Yes.
So that's what we're experts at. So Ascent.legal, you can check out the website right at it's Ascent.legal. And yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. It's definitely something that's transformed many criminal defense firms
Yes.
out there. So I'm very I'm very happy about it.
Well, I think what's great about this too, and I think lawyers are a little late to the game. I think doctors, dentists, these people in
They're awful
professional
business
fields,
people.
they're awful business people. And you know what? Sometimes it's just difficult to say, here's my service, this is what I expect to
Yeah.
get paid. So you can come in and close the deal. You teach
Yep.
them how to close the deal and the importance of maybe hiring that part out.
It's called lead management. and that's-
Exactly.
And we also help with lead generation as well. So we help you get more clients and
Yes.
we help you capture those clients. Because ultimately, when you're running around in court or you're doing the normal day-to-day stuff, it's difficult for the attorney to actually be able to acquire that new client.
Yes.
So that's what we're experts at. You know, I've been doing this for over 15 years and I've created a number of multi-million-dollar criminal defense firms. So it's what we do.
That's what he does.
Ascent
It's
Legal.
so
Come
amazing.
Check it out on the website. Call me directly.
Yes, awesome. So fantastic. Okay, we should talk real quick about what Kelly, our producer, is doing, because this is another sponsor of the show, Kelly's Show Offs Boutique. Fantastic. Helping you get those gifts for the ladies in your life, or if you're a lady listening, just those gifts for yourself.
I think that's the best, right?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you get what you want that way.
You get what you want, and you know it fits.
And it is coupled with Scotty D's pop-up as well.
Yes, our new...
Exactly.
So guys,
now we're
what's going on in
decorating
your
for
store?
fall. I think that we're really thinking fall. We're spending more time at home, so we're decorating not only our homes and entertaining for fall,
Pumpkins?
but also pumpkins.
The
But also-
works. Yes.
But also, we're dressing ourselves in a new way. We're going a little bit more casually, but it's still got to be fun. And when
Absolutely.
you're entertaining at home, you want a new outfit, you want a new serving piece, you want some new decor for your friends to come back and look at, rolling out the red carpet, but in, that COVID casual kind of way.
Which what I love too is any woman out there, if you are a single guy and looking to date, get her a beautiful gift along the way. Make her feel special.
Right.
And that's what this opens you up to, the ability. And Kelly will walk you through how to do
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
She's an expert at that. And not only that, she's always, in the latest sort of like touch of what's trending and what's hot. That's what she always brings to the table. So she's traveling to the shows in New York and in Florida. I mean, well, COVID
Absolutely.
safely, of course, but yeah.
It is
incredible stuff.
fantastic. And I should say we can move on and wrap up, but one more thing from Kelly, producer.
I want to remind you guys that when these ladies or gentlemen friends are coming to your home, you want to make it look as beautiful as possible. You want it to be comfy and casual, but you still want those personal touches, and Scotty's decor can really help pave the way for that. It comes together so easily, and all the sets really go together.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
What's
that.
the address? What's the
So
physical
the address, 216 West Genesee Street, across from the Clinton Exchange Building. Come check us out.
But we free ship for our out-of-state viewers.
Yes, we do. Oh, I love that. That's a great tip. And that is really what is making this show possible, all of these great advertisements. So how do you feel about today? Where are you going next? You've been working out.
I'm going back home to have a meal.
Okay.
My new trainer has
Yes.
been eating quite a bit of stuff. So, but it's all, he's
Healthy
trying to-
foods. Yeah.
He's all looking to stabilize my blood sugar. If you don't know, we're talking about Nam Lee, who's just an incredible trainer. And I don't know, I've bought into his whole system, and he knows what he's doing. He's super confident. He's been training for over 30 years, but he looks so young and he's just ripped. And I was
Awesome.
like, I want to look like you.
That is the way I hire somebody.
Yeah.
Yes. If I want to look like you, then that's how I'm going to hire you. If you have found the answer to looking good and fitness and how you're eating, then that's the way you should hire somebody for sure.
So I'm sort of like testing the water, so to
Yeah.
speak. And hopefully this is it'll be a slower progression than last time where I was just like, depleted a bunch of calories and, worked my butt off. This is a little bit more sustained, but I'm confident in the results that he's going to be able to bring. And eventually when he does, I want him on here.
Yeah.
But
Fantastic.
You'll have to
seen those
travel.
results. Look at how amazing you already look.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Well,
God. Well, now I'm going to go throw
Exactly.
up. And we will see you next week. Dad's Dishing, a great episode today. Again, send us your videos. Send us your questions. Follow us on social media. Watch on YouTube. Listen on all of your podcast platforms. We're right here.
And YouTube and Apple Podcasts, like you said,
Yes.
everything. And also dadsdishing.com. Pay us a
Perfect.
visit.
We love that. We'll see you next week.